Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you all for being on time at 4 o'clock. I apologize, we started a little bit late. Okay, we started at 4:01 p.m. I hope you forgive me for the extra minute of tardiness. Okay, thank you all for being on time. My name is Daryl from Osome, and it is my privilege to be your facilitator for this afternoon. All right, with me today, I have five very exciting and very intelligent speakers who are here to just share their thoughts on how to start e-commerce business. All right. So before I start introducing the speakers to you, I'll just go through the flow and agenda for today so that we all just be on track and we know what to expect by the end of this webinar. Right. So first and foremost, today, as the title suggests, how do I start e-commerce business? Today we are hoping to be able to address this issue, not so much from a business or marketing perspective, but a little bit more other parts of e-commerce business that we hope to address that will definitely prove beneficial if you are looking to start e-commerce business, or if you are a retail owner looking to transit your business online. Right. So we'll address that. We will also address some key technical areas to look out for when you're starting a business. We will share some common blind spots. We will debunk common misconceptions about starting a business. And if there is time, we will also discuss the current grants that the Singapore government is currently giving out for anybody who wants to start a business online. And we will transit to Q&A for the last 15 minutes. So if you have any questions throughout the webinar, please just feel free to key in the questions in the questions tab, and I will address them in the last 15 minutes of this webinar. All right. Of course, if you have anything that you just want to point out or anything that you just want to say, feel free to use the chat function as well. And we'll all be here and we're more than happy to just reply you or just answer any questions. All right. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to you the speakers for today. So first up, okay, in no particular order, all right. So first up, we have Arun. Arun is the founder of Asalta Technologies, but I won't go into much detail. I will leave the introduction to Arun himself. So Arun, please introduce yourself.
Hey, thank you, Daryl, and good afternoon to everyone for being here. Thank you for being here on this e-commerce journey. So I'm Arun. I'm the founder and CEO of Asalta Technologies. The goal of Asalta is to help e-commerce, retail, and wholesale businesses to increase their revenue and to automate the operations. Yeah, you will hear more later. Thank you, and back to you, Daryl.
Thanks, Arun. Okay, next up we have Eugene. Okay, Eugene is the founder or co-founder of Shopform, an e-commerce platform that's currently rising in ranks. Okay, it's getting quite more popular out there amongst the people in the fashion industry. So Eugene, please go ahead.
Thank you, Daryl. Hi, my name is Eugene. I'm the co-founder of Shopform. We are a social commerce platform where we allow users to review and shop direct-to-consumer brands in a single platform. And our mission is to actually enable access of direct-to-consumer brands for consumers across Southeast Asia.
Awesome. Thank you, Eugene. Okay, next up, another handsome gentleman we have over here, Jacob. Jacob is from Aspires. Jacob, would you introduce yourself, please? Jacob, you're muted. Sorry. Just give us a moment.
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you now, loud and clear.
Thank you very much for the flattering introduction. I'm Jacob. I'm the regional head of commercial of Aspire. Aspire is a business neobank designed for growing businesses in Southeast Asia. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to build a all-in-one financial operating system. So one account for all your financial needs. We have multi-currency accounts, we have corporate debit and credit cards, we have some expense management solution. We also offer very low FX rates, and businesses can even access credit lines to further grow their business. All of this is absolutely for free, and you can set up an account, within minutes from anywhere in the world. Yeah. Look forward to go into more details in a bit.
Awesome. Thanks, Jacob. Thanks for the introduction. And right now, next up, we have Nicole from Verz Design, a senior digital solution specialist. I'm sorry, senior digital solution specialist. Nicole, go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hi. It's okay. I also get tongue-tied when I say that. Hi, so I'm Nicole from Verz Design. So Verz Design is one of the leading web design agencies in Singapore. We do websites, mobile apps, digital marketing. So what I do is that I help my clients reach their full potential in the online platform, whether that's to build brand awareness, generate leads, or even increase their online revenue. So yeah.
Okay, thanks, Nicole. And last but definitely not least, we have Anna from Osome. Anna, please introduce yourself.
Amazing. Hello, guys. Thanks for participating. I'm Anna from Osome. Just a very quick introduction of myself. I've been with Osome for 2 years already. Oh, how time flies. I, however, have been in the industry for almost 5 years now. Started out as a corporate secretary myself. And being in couple of service providers, I actually decided to be part of Osome because it seems like because I have the same vision, which is helping entrepreneurs take away the administrative time and stress, by easing statutory jargons. And because Osome is a technology-driven service provider of digitalizing incorporation, corporate secretary, accounting, tax, and visa solutions for our clients that manage their companies in Singapore, Hong Kong, and as well as UK. I am essentially very proud to be in this team. And yes, that's me, and that's Osome.
Awesome. Okay, there's meant to be the pun inside. Yeah,
Yes.
all right. Yeah. Okay, so thank you all. Okay, for introducing yourselves. All right. So without further ado, we're just going to jump straight in. All right, into the questions. All right. So talking about e-commerce, we all know that e-commerce is pretty much the next big thing, and it's also partly because it has been sort of pushed forward in a sense due to COVID-19. And when everybody's at home, e-commerce was one of the viable options, right, to generate more revenue or to even start a new business or side hustle, etc. So it goes without saying that e-commerce is the next big thing. And in fact, if you read several reports which can be easily found on Google, right? So one particular report was saying that in Singapore alone, the projected total revenue of e-commerce in general is projected to reach about 2.8 billion USD just in 2021 alone. And with that, we are also projecting an annual growth of approximately 10% year on year. So when it comes to like year 2024, you could see easily about like $4 billion in revenue in Singapore alone. All right. So that is the potential that e-commerce industry is going to bring. Right. So, that is why we want to do e-commerce. And I'm not going to go into that. All right. But the question today is how. So even before we go into how do we start e-commerce business, I think one of the key questions that we want to address, right, is what are some key components you see in a successful e-commerce business? We see a lot of people trying to start a business. We see some that succeeds and we see some that fails, right? So there has to be a difference between companies that succeeds and companies that fails. So what do you think are some key components that you see in a successful e-commerce business? This is open to the floor, but I think, Jacob, you want to start this off first?
Yeah, obviously I'm gonna maybe always just take a little bit of the banking side, right? While I'm not like really specialist, I'd say, when it comes to like marketing or finding the right product. I'm sure there's other people who can advise on this much better. What we see on the banking side, what we see what's important is obviously to be as efficient as possible. And when I talk about efficiency, I think being as efficient in terms of like FX, so in terms of like dealing with different currencies and conversions. I think that's very much key, especially in Singapore, because Singapore, the market in Singapore is quite big, but still Singapore is just a very small place. So a lot of the e-commerces in Singapore are actually selling maybe on Amazon, or selling like globally in the US and everywhere else. And then obviously you're dealing with a lot of different currencies. You have Singapore dollar, you have US dollar, you might have euro and other currencies, and that is between procurement, maybe in US, then you're selling in SGD, in euro, and then you need to get it back. You need to do payroll. What we see is very important here to be, efficient and to have as few conversions, I would say, as possible, because in each conversion with traditional banks, you might lose 1.5%, and that obviously eats into your margin, because at the end of the day, it's very competitive. Maybe another thing on the financial side is obviously good, working capital management as well. So obviously, you have a lot of investments. You need to buy inventory, and then nowadays we all know that although the margins are high, marketing is just very expensive. Everyone bids on Facebook and Google, so we see that e-commerces are investing like up to 40% of their revenue in marketing, and then having good working capital solution to fuel that growth is very key as well. So in times where you have campaigns, Christmas, etc., to be able to actually have that liquidity and invest, and then be able to pay back via your sales is very critical as well. So I would say be efficient and also be smart about your working capital management.
Okay, thanks, Jacob. I love that being efficient is really the key thing right now, where people don't want to waste time, and as you mentioned earlier, not wasting resources as well, right? To making things as streamlined as possible. Arun, you yourself, as Asalta Technologies, you guys have helped a few e-commerce business grow, as you mentioned earlier. So, is there something you want to add on to what Jacob has said, or do you even have your own thoughts regarding this?
Yes, yeah. There are actually several aspects in a successful e-commerce business. I would not touch upon all of these, but maybe one or two of these would be, first thing, the very basic thing is finding the right product, right? Because there could be a lot of products. Now they need to find out the blue ocean and a red ocean strategy. So one simple way to find the product is, first they need to have passion for the product. They need to resonate with the product what they're going to sell, and only then they could actually really sell that well. And one easy way to find the volume of search for that particular product, they can use like Google Trends, or there are other platforms such as Google Trends that you can actually look up for the volume of searches for these products. And that's one way to look at that. And they can also go to social media, to certain groups, for like-minded groups, to start looking into the product as well. I will not go deep into this. Maybe there's other people who can get deeper into this. Another thing would be finding the right platform to sell your product. It's your set up your e-commerce website, right? There are many ways to do it. One is you could do it yourself, DIY websites like Shopify. Even Asalta provides e-commerce platforms. So you choose your themes, drag and drop, and you can design your own websites. Think of themes as though it's like the look and feel of your website, yeah, to get it done. So these are a few basic things, because having a website is easy, but having the right website with the right kind of experience for the user matters most. A user, when they come to your website, they need to be able to check out in just few clicks. It should not be a very long process. As long as we can make the journey for the customer easier, and as long as we can answer the questions the customer has during the shopping, all these makes it easier to close a sale in per se, right? So these are the few things that I would want to touch upon.
Right, awesome. Thanks for sharing. Nicole, you yourself, Verz Design, they're also a website design company, right? And in a way, of course, you provide so much more. So is there anything you want to add on to what Arun has said also?
Similar to what he said, yes, I do believe that you need to find the right product or right service that you really believe in. So you need to find that unique selling proposition that you have, because everything will revolve around that. The way you do your business, your branding, your digital marketing. And then, of course, on our perspective, you need to find a professional agency that will not just, do the website for you and then leave you at it. This agency will be able to advise you what platform works for you, what payment gateway. We're looking at hosting, how much traffic do you anticipate to have in the website? Would you intend to integrate it with an ERP system, a CRM system? How about security? So all of these details, the agency can further advise you. And then to add to that, it's one thing to have a website as well. It's another thing to do to get traffic into your website. So how much traffic you're getting into your website, right? So you need to also allot your capital as well for marketing.
Great. Well, I love what you said. Like, it's not just about the website, but also, estimating or no, sorry, anticipating. Sorry, there's a word, anticipating the amount of traffic they're going to get in, because that really defines, how much you want to pay for the web servers and all that. Yeah. Eugene, for short form, right? You guys are technically like an e-commerce platform on its own, right? So, do you have any thoughts on this as well? Like, how do you? Was there some things that you feel that some of your clients could have resolved earlier, but just because like they didn't want to pay so much, right? That several problems piled up. Do you see such cases happening when you were dealing with such clients?
Okay, so interesting question. We are currently working with more than 40 brands across Singapore, Malaysia, and Indonesia. And a very interesting phenomenon recently, within the past 2 years, with regards to your customer acquisition cost, is that it has been increasing dramatically, right? Because for e-commerce businesses, most of them house within their own brand.com, power using Shopify or one of these service providers, right? And getting traffic to their website has become part of their cost of sales. It's becoming increasingly expensive because everybody's trying to compete via Facebook ads, Instagram ads. Those are some of your typical channels, and these are channels which has proved to work the most efficient, right? So as more brands start to enter the scene, as barriers to entry start to lower, right, you're starting to see more and more people bidding on the same keywords. So it's become increasingly expensive, and they're always looking for new opportunities to actually reduce our customer acquisition costs. So you can actually use several other solutions out there, like e-commerce platforms. But of course, you have to evaluate whether these e-commerce platforms are suitable for you, whether they are bringing you the right target audience, and whether eventually your blended customer acquisition cost will make sense. So what we do at Shortform is that we try to stay very targeted to direct-to-consumer brands. These are brands who are mostly selling on their website, marketing through Instagram. We offer a separate channel that helps them to actually reduce their customer acquisition costs significantly.
Great, thanks for sharing, Eugene. You also mentioned a lot about cost, increasing costs, and a lot of you have also mentioned about finding the right product, getting in fulfillment and all that kind of thing, right? So all these are a lot of monetary transactions that are going on also, right? So Anna, in this case, right, do you actually see a lot of companies that they have issues, or any clients rather, that do they have issues with managing all these? And if so, is there something that they could have done better in the beginning, right, to ease all these little details that they didn't expect in the first place?
No, that's a very good question. In fact, yes, when it comes to e-commerce accounting, there are a couple of challenges that a couple of our clients, relatively new in setting up an e-commerce business, that they have been facing. So one of the few examples are essentially the complex inventory management, which typically, as a business owner yourself, to determine how much stock is in production, how much, what is the logistics to it, how much you actually have with you currently. This kind of items are quite administrative and also quite complex for new business owners, e-commerce based. Separately from that, they also have some sort of like sales tax liability that can be very confusing, because tax liability, you have to kind of indicate, or you kind of have to file that information with inline revenue, which is IRS in Singapore. And sometimes business owners are not aware of such statutory items that needs to be filed. And then separately from that, and as e-commerce businesses, we also project having pretty much a volume of transactions. It's not like a simple, not like a simple like a software development where you're subscribing it on a on a B2B transaction. It's more a B2C, which potentially is very much overwhelming. So yeah, these are some of the challenges that typically a new e-commerce business owners have been experiencing, which typically they are solutions that are provided by service providers, as well as online accounting softwares that ease such challenges.
Thanks. Thanks, Anna. So Eugene also mentioned earlier, right? I mean, a few of you have also mentioned about in terms of the transaction, you see a rising, or rather, Eugene probably he mentioned a rising increase in marketing, in customer acquisition costs. So Jacob, being in Aspire, right? I mean, you see many such transactions, or you rather payments rather. So is this something that Aspire sees as well, that this is something that has been increasing in recent years? Or I actually I don't know if you guys see the data, or manage to see the data, but from Aspire, do you see such trends as
Definitely. I think it's. I mean, we've been seeing this, right? We serve a lot of entrepreneurs, and we really serve the whole spectrum. So it's obviously like more professional, larger e-commerces, but we also have a lot of very small e-commerces. Sometimes people that start with their side job, and it's been fascinating. Obviously, also in the last year with the pandemic, e-commerce obviously boomed, and we saw single clients that started off with like a spend of a couple of thousand Singapore dollar, and then it got double digit, and at some point these guys are now spending 100K plus per month. And it was for us, it was very important to get to know these clients, and that was also very interesting, because sometimes we see this e-commerce players, and we're like, wow, those are huge, they must be huge companies, right? Then we set up a call, and we realize I'm talking to some 19-year-old, 20-year-old that sits in his parents' house, but manages this like e-commerce empire, and does like drop shipping all over the world. So I think we've definitely seen a massive increase in e-commerce, and that's one example. But then you also have those traditional retailers. They might maybe they used to have like 10 shops all over Singapore, and then they tell us, oh, we basically close down most of those shops, and we move completely online. And also these guys are spending a lot of money like on ads, and they're very much becoming more and more digital savvy across the board. So not just younger people, but also we see it with relatively more with older guys, where I'm like, wow, they actually really know a lot about online marketing. They're very much eager to learn, and yeah, it's been skyrocketing, and we see that the industry is growing very, very, very quickly, and we definitely saw that firsthand at Aspire.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Okay, I mean, we could go on and on, right? But in view of time, I'm just going to jump on to the next part. Okay, so the next question that I have will be a little bit more towards like the common myths about e-commerce that most people have. All right. So the question, I think this question will go to Arun and Nicole, right? Whoever's free can take this up first. So the question that I have, right, is that it's not just about having a website, right? Some people think that e-commerce is just about creating a website and then putting a few things up for sale and then it's done, right? But is it just setting up a website, or is there more to it? Yeah. Arun or Nicole?
Okay. Setting up a website. Okay. So like I mentioned earlier, right? If you engage an agency, we can help you create the website, but it's all those details that we need to scope further. Like what products are you selling? Do you intend to do promotions later on? Are you more into B2B or B2C? Because nowadays, even B2B are doing e-commerce. Like what payment gateway are we looking at? Even the security issues as well. We need to, you also need to consider that as well. So all of these things we need to understand. And then, as I mentioned, once you set up your website, you need to do digital marketing later on.
Right. Okay, Arun, any thoughts on this?
Okay, yeah. Adding on to what Nicole said, I would look at it like this: like setting up an e-commerce website is like opening a retail shop, right? So your question, if I were to change a bit. If I just open up a retail shop, will I start getting in customers, right? The answer is no. Of course, you'll have to do marketing. Then once customer come in, at the end of the day, the most important thing is customers' experience on your website and how easy it is for them to close a sale, or rather buy what they want to buy. How easy it is for them to look up on what they want and buy. Statistics shows that 69% of the shoppers actually don't complete the checkout process. They actually abandon the cart and they go away. So we need to find ways to engage them later on, so we can actually make them come back and buy stuff from us. So there are a lot of mechanics, like be it have some promotional offers, like one-time offers, or start drip marketing for these kind of customers. Also having a live chat if possible, and answer the questions when customers might have. Maybe do you have a refund offer, or whatever question they might have, right? It's also good to have a good FAQ in your website, so customers can actually read through and get answers what they want. Yeah. So there's many more, but I will just touch upon these now. Yeah. Back to you, Daryl.
Right. Thanks for sharing, Arun and Nicole. What I really like is that it's not just about setting up the website, right? But there's so much more to it, As Nicole also mentioned way earlier in the beginning, it's also about knowing your traffic, so you can also prepare what type of website you want, knowing your target audience and the demographics, so to design the website in accordance with your target audience, right? In terms of the colors, the layout, the UI, UX, etc., things like that. You guys also mentioned digital marketing, which brings me to my next question, which is, what I think is that it is a form of digital marketing also. It's like social commerce, right? Because people are putting themselves out there. So I think the next question that I have, right, which is a common myth, okay, is like, the question goes, I am not active on social media, hence social commerce is not for me. So Eugene, short form deals with social commerce, right? So do you have any thoughts on this question?
If you're not active on social media, that doesn't mean that social commerce is not for you, right? Perhaps it's just an avenue that you haven't explored yet. Because I think social commerce really depends on the nature of the market and the nature of your products, right? Let's say if you're not on social media and you sell vegetables, right? And in fact, vegetables, they work extremely well for social commerce. Group buying models have proved to work very well for groceries, because you could bulk purchase it, reduce the overall shipping costs. Everybody wins, right? Or even like say seafood, you're seeing like live stream commerce, right? Which is also a form of social commerce, right? It has been exploding, right? You don't have to be active on social media. If I sell fish in the wet market, I don't have to be active on social media, right? It's what model of social commerce and what type of products am I trying to sell that is going to make it suitable for social commerce. I think those are some questions that you probably have to ask yourself first before you decide what is the right strategy for you.
Right. Thanks for sharing, Eugene. Okay, the next question I have, right, is it is not worth investing into a mobile-friendly website and platform. So how I got this question is that some people, they feel that just creating a website and directing traffic towards their website is enough. Because creating it mobile-friendly, right, could be an extra hassle, right? Extra coding, which also means extra costs, which also means extra work done, right? Jacob, I understand that Aspire is also a mobile-friendly app or platform. So it's like a website/app and such, where you can control whatever you need to do on your mobile phone as well. So do you have any thoughts on this? Like, are there benefits to making it mobile friendly as well?
Yeah, absolutely, right. I think the reality is nowadays that I just looked I saw some stats. I think 65% of all e-commerce is already being done via mobile, and then I think there is some regions in the world, especially Southeast Asia, even like outside Singapore, where it's probably even higher. So I think the reality is that e-commerce now is being done on the fly. E-commerce is actually already very mobile. I think everyone is browsing via their mobile phone or iPads, etc. The reality is even banking, right, which you would think I want to log in into my desktop or computer in order to see everything, or like trading, even those more financial, more sophisticated operations and applications are now completely mobile, and more being done mobile. So we see most of our users already access the platform by mobile, and for e-commerce, I think it's even more of a no-brainer. So being mobile is not just important, but it's absolutely needed. Otherwise, you'll be like, you have no market, I guess.
Right. Arun, I mean, you also deal with a lot of e-commerce clients. So do you agree with what Jacob said? Do you see a majority of the clients asking you to make it mobile friendly and all that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. One such thing is now that everybody are on the go and people can always buy on the mobile phone. So even if they don't have a mobile app, as long as the website is mobile friendly, and it makes a lot more big difference. And now that Google is very particular about mobile device, and they rank websites more higher for search terms if they're mobile friendly and the speed of the website on mobile phone is faster, right? So so being mobile friendly is very, very important. Yeah, more than even having your desktop website, I would say mobile website is more critical. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Jacob and Arun, for sharing your thoughts. Okay, the next question I have, right, is actually for Anna, right? This is a little bit more towards the accounting side. So the question goes, or rather the myth goes, I can use my current traditional accounting firm to
Daryl,
match.
Nicole, I think she wanted to add something.
I'm so sorry, Nicole.
No, it's okay.
It's okay. It's fine. No, I also wanted to add, right? Because if you have your own website, you have complete control of your brand online. So when you get your customer orders, you are able to do upselling, cross selling. You're able to do promotions. You are able to see their purchasing habits online, and with that, you're able to do promotions. Do you intend to do a midnight sale, an early bird sale? So this is something that's a huge advantage compared to having just a physical retail store, correct? And also, and adding to that, right? If you are selling a product that your customers really want, and you're giving them convenience, they don't have to leave their home. They don't have to take the public transportation or Grab. They can just go to their website. They can go to their mobile-friendly website. Then they will come back. They will come back for you.
Awesome. So what I'm hearing is really the convenience and the ease of access to getting these products at any time, any place, anywhere, that is going to be the next level of in a sense, offline marketing, not offline marketing, but another level of okay, never mind. I don't know. I lost my train of thought. I'm so sorry, guys. Okay, but thanks for sharing. Thanks so much. Appreciate it. Whoever's hearing this webinar, if you understand what I'm trying to say, great. If not, I'm so sorry. Okay, next question for Anna. All right. The myth goes that I can use my current traditional accounting firm to manage my e-commerce transactions, or I can even do it on my own. Is that true?
Okay. Yes, yes, you can, of course. However, if I may indulge a little bit more, specifically for traditional accounting firms, one of their hurdles that we have heard from our clients moving in to Osome is basically waiting. Why do I say that? So generally, for traditional accounting firms, what they do is they work with the bank statement, and bank statements generally arrive more for traditional banks. I'm pretty sure Aspire doesn't do this. Aspire is really fast, but generally for more traditional banks, that it does not even take at the end of the month where the bank statement will come. It literally would take a couple of weeks after end of the month. So with that, the waiting game starts. So drawing back to my point earlier, right? E-commerce businesses generally has very high volume of transactions, and because of the fact that typically when you have an e-commerce business, you would need to also to draw out the management reports for the statutory compliances, and because of the fact that e-commerce business have very high volume of transactions, it is frequently, reconciliation has to be done more frequently than more like not like on a monthly basis. It has to be done frequently because it would be a snowball of workload for you to do. So this is actually one of the bigger pain points that we have experienced, or we have heard that most of our clients coming to us sharing such hassle, and this is a solution that we actually provide to our clients to actually be more digitalized, and there are a lot of providers. There are a lot of softwares available in the market to help ease this jargons, and basically focusing more just on like what Arun, Nicole, Eugene mentioned, that to build up your business, build up the products, do the market research, and pretty much just offload such hassle to an expert like us. So yes.
Hey, thanks for sharing, Anna. Yeah, I agree. I mean, you can just imagine, right? Like if you're selling a product that's only $2, but to get back your profit margin, you need to sell like a few thousand of those. I mean, the transactions and you also got to log every single transaction. That can be quite a hassle. But of course, it really would depend on the type of product you're selling as well. Right. Thanks for sharing, Anna. I think the next question, right? I think this is something that even myself, I also thought it was the case until I realized it wasn't. But the question goes, or rather the myth goes, that it is hard to start a business in Singapore, right? I mean, this can go to just even beyond like an e-commerce business. But for people who always want to start a business, at least for me, like previously when I wanted to do my own things, I always thought, wow, start a business is difficult. Like I got to find a company name, then I got to do so many documents and all that, right? So is that still true? Maybe Anna, Jacob.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because you also need open bank account now. So
yeah. I'll just jump on this for the time being, Jacob. So yes, it's a complete myth, to be very frank with you. Incorporation of company here in Singapore is very fast. It's very seamless. It's you can start your business literally at the comfort of your couch, because BizFile, which is the governing registrar of Singapore, is online. Literally, like you want to incorporate a company, it's all online. It is instantly incorporated. Of course, there are some conditioning factors, but usually, as long as the company nature of business is very straightforward, like retail sales over the internet, development of e-commerce businesses, holding companies, very standard nature of business, very standard company names, or not standard, sorry, but very unique company names generally can get the company incorporated within hours, literally. Of course, in case where when anybody is looking to set up their own company, we do advise to avoid flag names. As an example, bank. Obviously, it would be regulated by the Monetary Authority of Singapore. The word education, which would be regulated by Ministry of Education. Some trigger words that we would suggest not having to be indicated. But generally, if your name, the proposed company name is very unique, it is unique. The nature of business is very general. It can be done within the same day as well. Typically as well, when you set up a company in Singapore, you would be pretty much thinking like, I need a lawyer. I need a lawyer because I need to prepare all the agreements. I need to prepare the M&A. I need to prepare this. I need to prepare that. But that is completely different from 10 years ago, or potentially 5 years ago, because the changes in the registrar is very true. Sorry, it's very updated with what the situation is. In fact, you can incorporate a company with the standard ACRA template. You don't need a constitution drafted by a lawyer. You don't need very confusing resolutions, because typically when you have basically a service provider to help you with this aspect, a service provider would provide you with the resolutions all pretty much very seamless and it is very pretty much a myth. So yes, incorporation is very easy, pretty much. So maybe Jacob, you want to continue?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely true. I think it used to be a headache. It used to be a lot of work, but now from our side, we're working very closely together with Osome, who are doing an amazing job, and it's really very, very fast to open an account. Right now, if you're in Singapore, it's already not that difficult. If you're outside Singapore, it could have been quite difficult, but with Osome, it's all completely online. And then obviously also for example, you can open a bank account without being in Singapore. You can be in the beach in Bali and sign up in like 10 minutes and have the account up and running the next day. In fact, sometimes we even have cases where some of our customers are registering a business and opening a business account on the same day with our two companies. So it's very fast. This is from a bureaucratic point of view. It's never been faster and easier. I think even from a business perspective, and when we talk about e-commerce, right, it's never been a better and an easier time to open a company, right? Back in the days, you needed to hire some developers for your website, etc. Now you have plug and play solution, right? You go on, you get a logo there, you get a Shopify, ready to go online store, and basically you just pay if you have transactions. So you can really open a business with very, very little money. So for all the entrepreneurs out there, go give it a try. I think there's little to lose and a lot to gain.
Awesome. I love that, Jacob. Little to lose, but a lot to gain, right? This is really the time, if you're interested, of course.
Words to live by, I think.
Yeah, words to live by. And I believe if you are here in our webinar, I believe you do have a form of interest in starting own e-commerce business or looking to transit your business a little bit more online and diversifying, right? So thank you so much, Jacob. Thank you so much, guys, for sharing your thoughts. Just before we go into questions, right? Is there any words of encouragement you guys want to give, like what Jacob has done to all the aspiring business owners? Any tips that you want to give them? Eugene, I mean, you are co-founder yourself, right? So this is like your own business, right? So any tips you want to give to the participants here or to starting your own business or starting your own e-commerce business?
I think the barriers to entry to starting an e-commerce business has been greatly lowered, right? So it's very easy to get your business up from scratch, whether is it admin or is it operational, like sourcing of suppliers, integrating some of these payment methods whatsoever. It's extremely easy. But the difficult part is, to keep going on when, you hit certain roadblocks, right? But I think most importantly for e-commerce brands, because we work with a lot of SME brands, right? Key things to take note are definitely your customer acquisition costs, because in e-commerce, traffic matters a lot. And traffic, right, is definitely, to get traffic, you need to spend money. And that will obviously be a key differentiator to other e-commerce platforms, because if you have a lower customer acquisition cost, you can definitely acquire more customers faster and better than your competitors, right? And another thing to take note is, as an e-commerce business, you have your customers who are a resource for you. Try to tap on that resource, make your customers sell for you through social commerce. If you're not doing it, then I think it's something that you should consider.
All right, thanks, Eugene. I keep hearing the word like traffic, right? I believe this is something that's really important. And you also mentioned once again, customer acquisition cost, right? Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, at least for me, right, when I think of starting e-commerce business, it's really just finding out the product, like what Aris mentioned earlier, finding the niche, the right target audience, setting up a website, making it nice, then digital marketing, which is like such a big thing, right? But yet the details of what really goes into all these, right, it sometimes could really just fly above my head, like, at least for me especially. Yeah, right. I mean, I'm not too like entrepreneurial savvy and such, right? So thanks so much for your thoughts, Eugene. Okay, I think the next question, based on the questions that we have, right, probably Nicole and Arun can answer this. What are the current grants available and who qualifies for such grants, right? I mean, right now there are so many. I mean, in COVID, we heard of the Singapore government giving out quite a bit of incentives for people who want to do various things, right? So for aspiring entrepreneurs or aspiring e-commerce business owners, what are the current grants available? I know, Arun, you probably know a little bit here and there. Nicole, I think also. So maybe you guys want to take this answer? I'll take this question. I'm so sorry, I gave an answer. Sorry, guys, I'm nervous.
Okay. So for government grants, right, there is a government grant called the Productivity Solutions Grant. So for companies, they can qualify if their company is registered and operating here in Singapore, if they have at least 30% local shareholding. And then on our end, because actually under the PSG grant, there are different solutions. So what we have would be e-commerce websites. So if you have an e-commerce component in your website, then you can qualify for this. We are a pre-approved vendor, so we usually assist our clients. We help them scope their requirements, and then we can assist them in doing the application, even up to the claiming process. We can guide them as well.
Thanks. So how much does the grant, like you mentioned the PSG grant, right? So how much does the grant
80% reimbursement. 80%. Forgot about that. That's the most important thing.
80%, okay, that's a lot.
80%.
Yeah. Arun, about your side, is it about the same or?
Well, yes, there are a couple of grants as well. Apart from PSG grant, what Nicole said, to adding on to it, there's something called EDG grant, which again, the base criteria remains the same. They need to have the local shareholding, all these remains the same. This is EDG grant is more for customization. So or they need a very customized solution that is not part of the PSG pre-approved list, right? So when they think they need something very unique for could be for the business operation, could be for the website, could be for the marketing aspect as well. But as long as it's part of a software solution, right, then that can be packaged as an enterprise spring, which is now enterprise grant, EDG, which again covers up to 80% of the cost. Yeah, so that is another aspect they can look into.
I just want to add something, apart from grants, usually businesses would also be able to take advantage of exemptions that are given, corporate tax exemptions that are given to entities for basically startup companies given by IRS, right? So it is literally like up to so basically it is for the first 3 years. It's called the Startup Tax Exemption Scheme. For the first 100,000 of your chargeable income, you get an exemption of 75%. And the next 100,000 of your chargeable income, you get 50%. So that is apart from the fact that Singapore already has a very attractive tax rate. Apart from that, for newly incorporated companies, startups, they are also giving support schemes of exemptions that effectively you would be paying about 4.25% of chargeable income instead of the flat rate of 17%.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Anna. Nicole and Arun also for giving your thoughts. Are there any other grants available or anybody dealing with any other grants? I'm not too sure at this as well. That's why you guys are the speakers. Right. Okay, if not, I think that's good. For Nicole, there's the PSG grant. Arun also mentioned about the EDG grant. And I also mentioned quite a number of ways in which there are subsidies that a new business owner can take advantage of, which I believe all in all really subsidizes the cost, right? A lot more, which further emphasizes what Eugene said earlier about, when he was encouraging new business owners that the barrier to entry is really very low. And in this case, we really see that with the grants, the barrier to entry in terms of cost of finances is actually very, very low. Yeah, so that's a great thing. So thanks for answering, guys. The next question, right? If your goods is imported from overseas, you as the owner, you pay 7% for these goods, right? Because of GST. So how should you go about collecting the 7% from the client? Because if you mark up the 7% to recoup your own loss, you might not be so competitive, right? So is there a way around this? I think this is a little bit more like a business administrative answer. Is there anybody who want to? Yeah, Anna.
Yeah. Okay. So of course, first and foremost, this also something that you can be looking at as well, because there are certain criteria for you to be GST, or mandatory for you to become GST registered, because there are certain criteria, or maybe certain aspect that you want to be thinking of in cases where you have plenty of expenses that are of higher amounts, like having a rental office, you purchase like fixed assets from overseas, like what you mentioned, but of a higher value, but has very little or almost like no sales here in Singapore, then actually it is better for you to have to be GST registered, because you would be able to claim all of them back when the GST tax is paid. However, if you do not incur much expenses, GST expenses, then we would actually advise you, not to be GST registered until it is compulsory, because as what you mentioned, when your company is being GST registered, it makes your items a little bit more expensive to consumers, and generally, if it's not mandatory at the current moment, then don't get it registered. Yeah, basically.
Okay, thanks, Anna. Thanks for answering this. I hope this answers your questions, Chris. If not, please feel free to put in another question. All right. Okay. There's a last few minutes left, okay, before the end of this webinar. So does anybody have any more questions that they want to ask our panel over here? If you have, just put it in the chat or just put it in the questions tab that we all can see. Right. If not, I mean, the floor is open to speakers as well. If there is anything that the panel would like to add on, please feel free to add on as well.
Okay, maybe I share a bit.
Yeah, sure, Harun.
Okay, just a word of encouragement for people who want to start up or has just started up doing e-commerce business. One good news is, apart from your growing marketing costs, right? Another good news is they can also sell on other marketplaces like Lazada, Shopee, Amazon, Q10, and all these. They have like few millions of eyeballs every other day, right? So when they work with us, like Asalta, which is a platform that integrates with all the other marketplaces, right? So this also helps them to keep track of the inventory, the sales, the customer, and then they could use the customer information to remarket and do email marketing to bring back customers to buy back again. So these are some kind of a few tips which they can use to better off as well. Yeah.
Hey, thanks, Arun. All right. Okay, so if nobody has any other questions, we will say that we have come to the end of this webinar. But before we go, okay, I'll just be a little bit thick-skinned and I'll share a little bit. Okay, so if you guys are really keen on starting an e-commerce business, okay, or starting your own business, all right, and you feel that getting up your own incorporated company in Singapore is too much of a hassle, all right, just feel free to approach Anna. She's the best person to help you with this. You want to open a bank account, Jacob is the best person, all right, because it's not just Singapore, right? Aspire deals with worldwide currencies as well. If you need integrations, Arun's the best person for you. You need to do up your website. There is Nicole. Verz is one of the best website design companies that I know. And if you're looking to go into social commerce, right, Eugene's the best person over here, right? Shopline I've seen is one of the fastest growing. Shopform is one of the fastest growing startups that I've seen growing, and day on day they're just increasing the customer base, even as we speak, right? So you will never go wrong with them. Okay, so their respective emails will be given to you through another email. So if you have any other questions and you want to ask even further in the respective industries, feel free to do so. They'll be more than happy to answer any questions. If not, you can just let me know, okay? And I will try to answer them for you. All right, I'll find the answer and I'll answer them for you. All right, with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your participation. We have come to to the end of this webinar. If you feel that you messed up a little bit in the beginning, or you couldn't hear as much as you wanted because you were busy or whatever, it's fine. The recording will be sent to you at the end of this webinar. So, and you can just play back anytime you want, right? So just feel free to pick on these nuggets of wisdom that our speakers have mentioned and have shared, and I believe that will help you a lot in your entrepreneurship journey. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much once again, and I wish you a great week ahead. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Daryl.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Nice to meet everyone.